So, guys, let's start off. Hi, Aishwarya. Aishwarya is an artist. That's great. Arpit runs a Facebook ad agency. Nice. Awesome. Thank you. So, very simple. I'll just quickly jump in. Basically, this is me for all of those who don't know me personally or otherwise. Um, I run a digital agency called Singularity with my partner, Amjad Desai. And we've been doing this for the past 3 years. And over these 3 years, we have understood few things in terms of um, how to create content, how to distribute content, and that's what I share with you guys in these webinars. Okay, I am imagining you guys to be active throughout this class, as you can see in this image. Okay, so I would really appreciate interaction because that will help me understand if you guys are understanding what I'm trying to drive the point to. If at any given moment you are somewhere maybe stuck or you're not understanding what is happening, feel free to put it on the chat and I will do my best to help you out over there. At the same time, there is the Q&A panel which is there in Zoom. So any specific question which you feel might need more time, you could put it up in the Q&A panel and I will take that up at the end of this particular session. Okay. So today's session is bite-sized storytelling. We are going to learn few things. Now, one of the first things is we need to all first be on the same page on what is storytelling. Okay. And is is storytelling something very important in today's world and why it is important? We need to understand this. So, just to bring context to storytelling, everything in life, what we do or how we perceive is through stories only. So, to give you an example, as a child is born, one of the first few stories which they hear are maybe stories which the mom and dad might, tell them when they don't even understand. Sometimes when the child is actually in the womb and you can say people play nursery rhymes or people play stories also for kids. And there are bedtime stories. There are दादी नानी जो भी रहता है वो कुछ ना कुछ कहानी सुनाती है. It might be very simple, it might be very stupid also at times, but that's the way the human mind processes information. The second part is we have been at least our generation of people who have been on this particular session, we've been exposed to a lot of stories through different mediums. Like there are films, there are TV series, there is social media. So all in all, what you see or whatever is happening around you is in the context of a story. Now, story is something which is uh, so fundamental that each one of us, knowingly, unknowingly, kind of gets into it and is also addicted to it. Okay. So in this session, we'll explore why and what are we doing, or how we can create interesting stories. So storytelling essentially has got few points which are there in each and every story, no matter what format. So no matter you're making a film, no matter you're making a TV series, no matter you're making maybe you're just putting things up on social media, there always needs to be something in this flow which should happen. So one of the first things is something big happens. Okay. So in terms of if you see these points, these are points which are there in each and every story. Let's take an example of a film. So in a film, first something big happens. Okay. And this is basically the start of the film. There would be a opening where it will be established that something is happening around these things. Okay. The next part is, and maybe our protagonist or our main hero is introduced. Then we are introduced to few problems of the heroes. Okay. Now the entire you can say film is around these problems and the hero conquering these problems. Okay. and towards the end of the film, okay, there will be a climax, and climax is not the end, but climax is something which satisfies the audience. Like all these problems which you have been seeing, uska ek point aata hai, usko climax कहते हैं, okay, and finally there is the end. So if you think of this in a very simple way, let's take an example of a film like maybe Bahubali. Then something big in the start would happen. There would be a fight scene or something, okay, where the main character is introduced. It might be a fight scene, it might be the character climbing on top of the mountain and conquering it. Then over a period of time we see few problems, like there are maybe enemies who appear, there might be some flashback and some more storytelling which happens around that, ki who exactly is Bahubali and all those things. Then there will be a climax. Now if you see part one of Bahubali, one of the main things was the end was Kattappa ne Bahubali ko kyun mara. Okay, so actually, even though that was the end, it was made in such a way it kept you held for 1 year more till the second part came out. So actually, in the first part, the climax which was there was not Kattappa ne Bahubali ko kyun mara, wo end tha wo movie ka. Okay, and that end was made in such a way that you had to hook on to the next movie. Okay, the climax of the first part is maybe where Bahubali sort of is conquering over all his other enemies, and he has done that. And towards the climax, there is the part of the end where Kattappa ne Bahubali ko mara. Okay, so that is a simple structure in which anything happens. Now how does this all fit in to our marketing space? Okay, whether you're a brand, whether you are a business, whether you are an agency, you always have to talk about something big happened. Now something big happened can be anything contextual. It can be a launch of a product or a brand. It can be launch of new rules or new system. Now last week there was the new education policy which was announced by the government of India. So that was something big which happened. So edtech companies, you would see a lot of them talking about these things. Then they would obviously, the next thing is, because the new education policy has been announced, but there are few problems. Okay, now what are the few problems in the new education policy? Maybe there is more of technology which needs to be used for kids and education. So you would see a lot more traction, or you would see a lot more problems, because there is not enough technology, or there is not enough money to buy newer technology in certain parts, bad internet connection, so on and so forth. So these are few problems. This is the landscape, and around these problems there can be a lot of things which can be spoken about. In terms of a climax in a real context, what you would do is, this would be basically for a company who has come up with a solution. So right now, if you look at something like White Hat Junior, you would see them pitching a solution to the market. Okay, and for a business, there is no end. It's continuously ongoing process of optimization. Okay, so these are the parts of any and every story. How you tell the story is something which we need to now think about at any given point of time. So what I would like to understand from you guys is, what's your take, okay, and what's your understanding of story in terms of your own business, okay, and if you guys can think about it, I would like you guys to basically think about these things. Okay, that is, what is it that something big happened in your business? Okay, what are the few problems that you guys are working with right now? Okay, and in terms of climax, it's not, it's basically a end goal, you can say, which you are aspiring to reach. Okay, so it could be something like you are preparing for a launch date of a particular solution or a particular topic, and that could be the climax. 1 day reminder hota hai and something. And when that day comes in, that's the point when you actually showcase all your solutions. Okay, so that will be your climax, the event day. and finally there will be some more you can say newer things which will come out of that. So we need to understand this part in a very simple manner. There's no you can say, for lack of better words, it's not rocket science. It's as simple as this. You need to know about, you need to give a small introduction about your business, okay, at any given point. You need to talk about something big that is happening currently, some few problems that you venture out to solve, and what happens when you solve them. Along the way, when you will solve problems, you will automatically get some issues which are, which you are solving, plus you'll discover more issues. So it's always a give and take. Like you'll find problems, you'll solve them. You might find some more problems and you will solve those also. Now, this back and forth needs to be told in a story manner. So automatically people are doing it. So let's see how and why this small content is required. Okay, so we need to understand one part key. We have been exposed to a lot of content earlier in the form of movies. Like now, this I'm talking about around late 1980s, say late 2000. Okay, the format in which we were consuming mainstream media was movies. So movies are basically large forms of storytelling. It's a 2 hour to 3 hour commitment which everyone has. Okay. Now मूवीज जो है जैसे जैसे आगे आया बट उसके साथ साथ टीवी केबल ये भी ज्यादा रेवोल्यूशन आते गया है and in this TV and cable revolution what happened is the movies which were there which were like 2 or 3 hour formats, what people discovered is uh, let's look at prime time television. Okay, now what is prime time television? Prime time television is a time around 8 to 10, okay, or 9 to 10, which was earlier considered to be the maximum amount of time, like maximum number of people will be looking at your piece of content or a TV show at that point. So, which were these TV shows of the day? There were those Saas Bahu serials. There were those maybe you can say romantic serials of the yesteryears. Okay. Now, why this was so important is, and these serials were known as soap operas. Okay. The reason why they were known as soap operas is because mainly they were funded, or the main ads which were run at that point, okay, were by soap commercials. So because soap commercials used to run ads during prime time, these shows were known as soap operas. Okay. Now you need to understand 9 to 10 is a time when mothers have finished their work, families have had dinner, okay, fathers are also considerably free, children must have finished their homework, and now they sit as a family unit to see the TV show. That was the whole idea. So basically, if there was supposed to be any form of, even say, promotion across the entire, you can say, ecosystem, it could have been only at this time. So this is where we need to understand the ads were the bite-sized form of content which were running during the long form of content which was TV. Okay. Now TV shows were approximately 20 to 22 minutes long, जिसमें 5 minutes to 8 minutes का ad slot होता था. Okay. So this is how we have evolved over a period of time from movies में क्या हो रहा था, movies were 2 to 3 hour long, उसमें अगर placement होता है तो होता है, interval होता है, but interval के time पे most of the public is out. So it was not a form of content which could be evolved till that point. But with TV shows, what people discovered is, if we hook audiences for the TV show one time per week, okay, initially it was one time per week, because if you remember the shows, they never used to come daily. They used to come only once in a week. So one time per week at a particular time, people will be present in front of their screens. Let's show them an ad at that point. So that was the bite-sized form of content which was shown during a bigger piece of content. Now, what happened with the advent of cable television is we got more channels, technology also developed, and we got now, instead of showing a TV show one day per week, they started showing it 5 days in a week. Like the entire week, you would see one episode of that of your favorite TV show. So that means now audiences have, first of all, cable television reached out to masses. Second, audiences have a lot more, you can say, freedom to choose their, you can say, show, their favorite show. If mom and dad want to see a Saas Bahu drama, they are free to do that. Children in their bedroom might see MTV or something. And this is how the whole ecosystem developed over a period of time. Okay. So why I'm telling you this is what you are seeing right now, which is the bite-sized form of storytelling. It comes from these forms of, you can say, technology as well as mediums. And you need to understand where people have formed their habits of viewing, because वो जो देख रहे थे वो टाइम पे टीवी शो, अभी क्या हो गया है, वो टीवी शो चला गया है आपके ओटीटी पे. Okay, OTT is basically over the top media like your Netflix, Amazon Prime, and this is the video on demand generation. Okay, wherein on our mobile phones we can access all the content in this world. There is also YouTube. Okay, but I'm saying in terms of TV, the transition has been made to OTT. Now, what we need to understand is with all these things coming in our, you can say, mobile phone apps, it's become more easier and it's become more, you can say, accessible for me to look at all of these things. Now, one of the main things is most of these platforms, how they work is they will run an ad if you have not paid for it. So if you use Sony Live, Sony Live for free will give you content, but it will run ads on that content. Okay, and it gives you free limited period of time के लिए access, and you can see it with an ad. If you skip the ad over a period of time, it will give you the power to skip in some time, but still you have to see the ad. But if you pay them a premium, they will give you ad free content. Okay, so that's why you are paying them, you're paying them for basically a ad free experience. Now the next part is these guys, Netflix and all, today they have become, earlier they were content aggregators. That is, there was a lot of content which was ready and they just buy the rights, they show it to you. But over a period of time they understood the game. You know what, it's more important to have exclusive content on our platform. So Money Heist will be shown only on Netflix. Okay, or else if you go to Amazon Prime, there will be few shows which are only exclusive to Amazon Prime. And if you see the way these guys have started producing content, so from content aggregators, they became actually content producers, because content production is what hooks people on. So Sacred Games आपको Netflix पे ही मिलेगा, Amazon Prime पे you will get Mirzapur. Okay, and both have solid following, but that is the exclusivity with which they are, trying to hook audiences. Now again, it's storytelling जिसकी वजह से audience कोई एक platform पे जाएगा. But today, living in the world we are living, Netflix देखना है तो मैं, यानी अगर Secret Games देखना, मैं Netflix मेरे फोन पे installed है, मेरे फोन पे Amazon Prime installed है, and if we are all of us have that one show which we all, I think, common तरीके से देखते हैं, that is तारक मेहता का उल्टा चश्मा, then Sony Live अपने सबके पास रहेगा. Okay, अगर नहीं है तो इंस्टॉल कर लो और चेक कर लो. Okay, point is we are all, using content, or we are all consuming stories through these platforms. Now, why am I telling you all of this is, when you are consuming all of these things, you are consuming stories. What you are posting on social media is not a social media post, it is a story. Okay, When I say story, I don't mean just Instagram stories, but I'm saying even on your feed. Like, let's say there's this particular feed. These are all now small bite-sized story pieces. Okay, तो इसमें अगर आपको एक thought process मैं देता हूँ, okay, a very simple one. Think of it from this format, like there is a bigger story, okay, and let's call it the film. But the film is introduced by, you can say, a trailer, okay, and you might also know the film by songs, okay, and trailer के पहले भी people have now started putting in teasers, okay, and teaser के पहले भी people have now started putting in motion posters, and motion poster के पहले भी people have now started putting in a poster reveal. Okay, so what is happening out here is this is a macro piece of content. Okay, and this is a bite-sized piece, and इस तरीके से ये सारे bite-sized pieces. Some are maybe smaller than the others, but that's how we are now consuming. And why this is happening? This is happening because we are all part of a generation which is using Facebook, which is using Instagram, which is using maybe TikTok, Instagram story, LinkedIn, whatever. So it's more important, and how are we using it? That is also something which we need to understand. When we are on Instagram, okay, what we do is we just keep on scrolling. I would just do one thing. If I go to YouTube, okay, and I just say come scrolling, or yeah. So if you just search for this term, come scrolling, which is become our reality, and I would just put in a GIF. We are all addicted to this behavior on our smartphone. A smartphone is made in such a way that you use your thumb more, okay, and you continuously do this. Now you need to understand ये क्यों हो रहा है. Thumb scrolling is a repetitive process. It's a simple process. Our brain is a you can say loves repetition and predictability. So when we thumb scroll and we get new content and we are experiencing certain emotions of happiness or shock or excitement, the brain feels good. Okay, this releases certain hormones which make you feel happy, and that is why we keep on doing this. This is addiction. So what has happened is now today, coming back to this, why we need bite-sized stories is because today we are not, imagine this is the lockdown, we are not looking at movies in the theater. I don't know, like I have not seen a TV show on TV for so many years. I am used to seeing it on maybe YouTube or maybe any of these platforms. Okay, how many of you guys actually see cable television? Can you say, can you guys, or else let's do a fun, you can say, poll. How many of you guys actually today are more on Netflix or these kind of OTT platforms? Okay. So Shankar Narayanan says he is seeing TV shows. Nice. Okay. But how many of you guys actually see, let's say, things on Netflix or YouTube more versus the TV? Okay, like TV पे न्यूज चल रहा है वो ठीक है, ओके, बट न्यूज भी कितने लोग देख रहे हैं? लाइक पर्सनली आई डोंट ओन अ टेलीविजन फॉर द पास्ट I think 6 years or so, because once everything has been on my mobile phone and desktop or laptop, I don't feel that need. Yeah, most of the people are saying OTT and YouTube and Netflix because no one has the time, right? Correct. The second part is, when do you consume it? Can you guys tell me, like, apart from the lockdown, when do you consume YouTube? Okay, lockdown अगर नहीं था, before the lockdown, when would you consume, Netflix, or when would you consume this? Yeah, Shankar Narayan says traveling to work, and that is a site which I have seen so many times. Like, I used to travel by the metro, and I used to see in the morning, when I am traveling around 8:39, many of these people are plugged on with their mobile phones, and they are actually consuming a lot of content on Netflix or Amazon Prime, या फिर डाउनलोड करके भी वो अपने फोन पे ही देख लेते हैं. So traveling to work and traveling back to home is a very good time to consume content. Okay, Instagram भी बहुत लोग तभी consume करते हैं. Now, this is where, we, and Mandar says, whenever I am free, that is also true. And the point which is there is, we get, whenever we are working also today, because our phones are so accessible, थोड़ा काम किया, फिर Instagram पे 2 मिनट जाते हैं. You don't even consider going to Instagram as, fun. You would just mindlessly go there, and you will just start thumb scrolling. And this is where most of the marketers are trying to now catch your attention on your phone. Okay, because the main thing which is out there right now is कि phone पे अगर किसी को आपने पकड़ लिया और आप अपना message या brand बता सकते हो, then that person will, be more interested, or he will become your promoter in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so an example of this is, one part is, look at how many brands are actually running ads on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, how many, you can say, people are actually now running ads on Google, and Google, people are not googling on their laptops, people are googling on their smartphones. 70% of traffic which is on websites which is coming through ads is only because of mobile traffic. So what this means is, mobile phone pay, the space, as Mandar said, whenever I am free. So whenever I am free is a very, you know flexible term. वो कम पीरियड के लिए भी फ्री होंगे और ज्यादा पीरियड के लिए भी, बट ज्यादातर कम पीरियड के लिए people are free because they get pulled into something or the other. Now, in this small piece of time which you get whenever people are free, you need to make an impact, and that is where bite-sized storytelling comes to play. So instead of saying your whole message, okay, तो पहले एक फिल्म था, तो वो फिल्म कैसे बनता था, उसमें इंट्रो होगा, समथिंग बिग वुड हैपन इन दैट फिल्म, देयर वुड बी फ्यू प्रॉब्लम्स, देयर विल बी अ क्लाइमैक्स, देयर विल बी एन एंड, और ये फिल्म जो है 2 घंटे के लिए चलता था. बट अभी क्या हो रहा है, अभी आपको ये पूरा फिल्म छोटे छोटे पीसेस में, टुकड़ों टुकड़ों में दिखाना होगा, एंड दैट इज व्हाट बाइट साइज स्टोरी टेलिंग इज ऑल अबाउट. Where will you show it? You will show it on Instagram feed. You can show it on TikTok, which is 15 to 20 seconds. Okay, you can show it on Instagram story. TikTok मैंने क्यों डाला है, because TikTok से compete करने के लिए Instagram ने Instagram Reels भी निकाला है, which is a 15-second video platform. Okay, so your story, whatever it is, you need to show it in these formats. Video हो गया, या म्यूजिक हो जाएगा, या इमेजेस होगा, anything and everything. If it is LinkedIn, you can even upload a presentation, and that would also work for you. So point being, at the end of the day, you need to just think of these things as the places जिसके लिए आप content बनाओगे. Now, and the point is, small content, bigger reach. Why? Because पहले मंदार को अगर मुझे as a brand, if I wanted to connect with Mandar, I would connect with Mandar on a maybe a TV show, which is 25 minutes का investment of his time. But now what Mandar is saying is, whenever I am free, market to me. So Mandar is free for 2 minutes. उसमें से वो 2 मिनट में से अगर 20 सेकंड मेरे हो सकते हैं, तो वो 20 सेकंड के लिए मुझे मंदार का अटेंशन ग्रैब करना है. So that's where small content, bigger reach. Now here's a good part. Imagine this. So let's just do some numbers which are very basic. If I talk about 2 hours, okay, 2 hours of movie, that is basically 120 minutes. Okay, 120 minutes अगर मैं बोलता हूँ, तो I would just need a calculator for this. Okay, if I talk about 120 minutes, 1 second, yeah, and if I look at how many seconds are there in it, okay, basically 1 hour, okay, 1 hour has 60 minutes, okay, 60 minutes would have 3,600. 1 second, am I doing this right? 1 minute is 60 seconds, right? Guys, I need your support. Okay, yeah. So 1 hour is basically 3,600 seconds. Okay, that means 2 hours is equal to 7,200 seconds. Okay, now when I talk about 7,200 seconds, and if I divide this, okay, by 15 seconds, so there are 480 pieces of content, bite-sized content in a film. Okay, now why I'm doing this math is basically a film is made up of 480 pieces of content is what you guys need to look at. Okay, again, when you are doing bite-sized content, you don't need a lot of continuity. मूवी में क्या होता है कि हर एक चीज एक के बाद एक होना चाहिए एक सीक्वेंस में. But this format which is there, it does not need continuity because humans are intelligent, humans are smart, and human brains are wired for continuity themselves. So यहाँ पे क्या आ जाता है, एक piece of content अगर आप देखोगे, I will show you maybe later if we have time, that is vlogs, and vlogs are not continuous. Okay, it's just part of someone's life which is like 10 minutes and it's okay. वो अगर 10 मिनट कच्चा पक्का भी हो गया चलेगा. Why I'm saying this is our expectation from content when it's smaller, okay, and when it's daily is lesser from a quality standpoint, okay, but it is more from a quantity standpoint कि रोज 5 बजे यानी 5 मिनट का मुझे एक वीडियो अगर कोई क्रिएटर दिखा रहा है, then I would not think of quality. Example of this is I'll give you my latest, like during this lockdown, one of the creators is Flying Beast. How many of you guys know this guy? Do you guys? Okay, Ritika knows. Baki public, YouTube, Flying Beast. Anyone? Arpit, yeah. So the point is, so this guy, he publishes. If you look at it, 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days, हर दिन एक वीडियो पब्लिश करता है 8 से 10 मिनट का. देवयानी says, I know her. You know the child? बच्ची आप जानते हो. Okay, so he is publishing one content a day, which is for 8 to 10 minutes ka size. He is shooting from his mobile phone. So there is no expectation of कि perfect cuts रहेगा, makeup रहेगा, ये रहेगा. It's just a slice of his life, and that's what makes it easier for us to relate. Now, if we go to Instagram, okay, and I would again search for Flying Beast or Gaurav Taneja here. He's also publishing things out here, okay, and here he might not be that regular, okay. So there is 1 week ago, correct, more or less, I think one piece of content rahega every day. The point which I'm trying to make is here the narrative or the story for Instagram is slightly different. वहां पे हर दिन अपने लाइफ का वो दिखा रहा है और यहाँ पे maybe he is talking about some of his experiences like about him and his daughter because he has only यहाँ पे the time which he understands is only a not even a 10-second का slot because you guys are thumb scrolling and उसके बीच में if you see his image you might come and like it. Okay, so he has got 1.2 million followers, out of which 259K have liked this image. Instagram does not show the image or the post to each and every one of his subscriber. Okay, based on the algorithm. So what he's trying to do is he's showing you part of his life in a very different way than YouTube out here. He's not being lazy and he understands कि same content यहाँ पे नहीं चलने वाला है. Okay, if you go to IGTV, he's got a different IGTV ka stream. Okay, and he's not putting a lot of IGTVs right now. Similarly, there is you would say you would see creators like Beer Biceps. Now, Beer Biceps puts a lot of content on YouTube, which is longer, okay, which is like 1 hour, 1.5 hour ka videos. But over here, he's putting smaller videos, or he's putting his life story, which is an image. Because Instagram pe image is the main thing out here. There is a show, there is a feature called IGTV, wherein he starts promoting, you can say, bigger pieces of content. So point which I'm trying to make is कि you need to understand कि कौन सा piece आप कहाँ पे use करने वाले हो, and the way to do this is just one, that is start publishing more content because if you today have 10 seconds of let's say जैसे मंदार ने कहा whenever I am free I'm just catching that because that is so relevant, right? We do not know when we will use Instagram, but we use Instagram every in a day, maybe 10 times. And ये जब होता है 10 बार आप यूज कर रहे हो तो अगर आप स्मॉल कंटेंट पब्लिश करते हो एज अ ब्रांड यू हैव जब भी मंदार ने 10 बार अगर ओपन किया और आपका ब्रांड का पोस्ट आ गया छोटा सा क्योंकि आपने छोटे छोटे पीसेस बनाए हैं और अब छोटे छोटे पीसेस 6 बार एक दिन में डाल रहे हैं और वो 6 बार में से 3 बार भी अगर मंदार देख लेगा तो मंदार विल रिमेम्बर योर ब्रांड and that's the whole game out here. Okay, so that's why small content bigger reach. You will to create small content it is easier. To publish small content you will get a lot more things to publish. So if you have 100 subscribers, let's say, on a very small amount, I'm telling you, if you post one post per day it will be shown to maybe 20 odd people once. Okay, out of those 100 people, if you post 2 posts per day, it will be shown to 40 odd people in that same day. If you post 3 posts per day, it will be shown to 60 plus people. What happens when you start publishing more? Instagram also understands कि ये भाई साहब ज़्यादा time publish कर रहा है तो इसका ज़्यादा लोगों को दिखाओ. Okay, so the relation is if Instagram knows because based on the algorithm they would start pushing your content to more and more people to test it out. So that's why small content is equal to bigger reach. Okay, now we all want to understand ki how can we create more in less. This is what everyone wants to do. Now, there is a very simple way to think about this, which I want you guys to understand. You just need to understand yourself. What is your story? Okay. Basically, if you understand what is your story, you will be able to produce a lot more content. So, what do I mean by this? You need to talk about yourself. You need to be confident on these platforms to talk about yourself and what you are doing in your life. So what will happen is, let's put this concept of you in this concept of storytelling. Okay, you all, how many of you guys have Instagram and are posting on Instagram? Just message I do in the chat, please. I need one more response from you guys, that whoever is posting on Instagram, have you told people about yourself ever on Instagram? Yes or no? That's the simple response. Correct? So Divani says yes all the time. Nice. So my point is, but still, when we talk about yourself, what I mean is, let's put in this context. Okay, have you introduced yourself to your Instagram followers by saying, "Hey, I am so and so, and I do this." Okay, and I'm trying to create this impact in this world. Have you put it out? Have you put out an introduction like this? Yes or no? Yes or no? Mandar says no. Roshni has put in. Nice. Okay. So see, people who are saying yes, and sometimes uh, that's great. What I want is, a story is created when you continue that story. Okay. लाइक इंट्रो पहले होना चाहिए. अगर आपने इंट्रो किया है, सही है. अगर आपने नहीं किया है, तो ये पहला पीस ऑफ कंटेंट है जो आपको करना चाहिए, आपको सोचना चाहिए. ओके, you need to talk about yourself and what you are doing, because think of it from a point of view of, let's say, someone like Beer Biceps. He has this particular thing wherein he's talking about, uh, he's a warrior, self improvement content creator, writer, health, mental, fitness, style, romance. He's talking about himself. How many of you guys have this kind of a bio on Instagram? Do you guys have this kind of a bio? Yes, no, no, no. Kind of. Ritika kind of नहीं होता है वो, no. Okay. So now when you guys have this bio, okay, when you guys have this bio, let's say. So first thing is, if you don't have it, you have to think, and you guys need to put this up in some way, shape, or form. The second thing is, then you need to introduce yourself, maybe through a series of posts. Okay. Now it can be you can go creative as you want. Okay. Or you can start, just put up a nice picture of yourself and just talk about yourself simply. Then what you need to talk about is, you need to introduce about what you do. So it's as simple as, what are you working on right now? Then you can introduce something as simple as, what are you learning? Then you can talk about what is your current struggle and what are you trying to overcome. Okay? Because when you talk about all these things, and all these things as part of introduction, you have four stories running in parallel. Okay? The next thing which you need to do is, you say something big happened ko jod do. Okay, so what is something big that has happened in your life today? Okay, or right now, what is something big that has happened with you? Or else, what is something big happened in your work? Or else, what is something big happened when you are learning? Or else, what is something big happened in your struggle? So when I'm saying this, you have four stories in parallel, and this is just a mix and match which you keep on doing. And if you can post content every day, okay, or maybe let's say not every day, let's not be over ambitious, but in a week, if you can post this and you can increase it to a point of 2 posts a day, you will see a lot more traction on your Instagram or LinkedIn feeds. Okay, formula is the same on both the platforms or on any platform, even Facebook for that case. You need to talk about your story, okay, continuously across not just one dimension, that is not just about you but also your work, also what you are, how you are improving yourself. The struggle is real, can be maybe your journey in fitness or something, it can be your journey in maybe cooking, I don't know. So it's like, keep all these things parallel. So agar aap kuch you're working on something and there's a big campaign you're working on, you just say ki there's some crazy amount of work which I'm putting towards this campaign, and I don't even know what's going to, how it's going to pan out, but let's see what happens next. When you put this let's see what happens next, you are hooking the audience to your next post. Okay, if you, while doing this, you must have made some mistakes in your campaign, let's say, and you just say ki had a crazy showdown with the client, wherein what I was thinking and what they were thinking was not on the same point. But finally, after having the conversation, we now know what to do next. So you're now telling your story, you're now building that whole narrative, and maybe over a period of time, you will be able to get to the point wherein the audience will actually understand what exactly is happening in your life. Some people might like your work story more than your story. Some people might like your fitness journey. Now, what is happening is you will see on Instagram or LinkedIn few stories getting a lot more traction. That means that is the direction or that is the voice which people are liking. That is the communication जो आप ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा increase कर सकते हो अपने यहाँ पे. Okay. So I hope you guys understood how we create more and lesses, and these can be, there is, don't judge yourself for the quality of it. These could be just simple photographs. Okay, अगर आप fitness का journey आपका कर रहे हो, you could just take a simple gym का snap and just put that across. If you're working, if there is a dumbbell you're working on and that is basically your enemy for the day, you can just say ki, okay, that's my enemy for the day, and that's also okay, and so on and so forth. Maybe you are training with someone, so you could talk about your trainer. Maybe you are aspiring to be like someone, then you would talk about them. Where do you get your inspiration or motivation from? So it's all there. Now the point is, it's simple, but we don't do it, and that's where we get stuck. But storytelling is supposed to be a very human way to approach the whole, you can say, context. Okay, I hope this is clear, and I'm moving to the next section. If you guys have any doubts, please feel free to put it in the chat box. Cool, thanks. So the next topic which I just want to get your attention to is micro messaging. Okay. Now, micro messaging is a special, you can say, way of making content which has a lot more than what it is, but it is still bite sized. So, Dunzo is a brand which does this very well. Okay, Dunzo is into last mile delivery. Basically, they are like your, you can say, they deliver anything from food or medical. They will, you just tell them to pick up something from somewhere, and then they will do that, and they will make sure it reaches you. Okay, so Dunzo made this creative, which is for Eid. Now, the context of this creative, they sort of understood one part. Ki right now, COVID situation is on, social distancing has to be done. So how do we show this idea? And that's how simple way में उन्होंने ये दिखा है, embracing togetherness from afar. Okay, and they have shown two, you can say, friends or family members who are still, towards themselves. Obviously, the imagery of earth and all is there, and it's a very simple, sweet way of narrating this idea. That was one sort of micro messaging. The second part is they do this. Can anyone so so if you guys see this तूने खाया मैंने सुन लिया, get the particular dish you love. Okay, now what these guys have done is they are barbs of wordplay. What they do is हर एक message में they put a lot more context. Now this is micro messaging, but this is micro messaging का भी next level, which is known as going meta. Okay, meta is basically you like you put in so much of information into a message, which if decoded, okay, uh, it is communicating a lot more than what it is. Okay, so say for example तूने तूने खाया मैंने सुन लिया, this is basically a song by Pratik Kuhad, but it is तूने कहा मैंने सुन लिया. What they have done is they have just थोड़ा सा वर्ड प्ले करके तूने खाया मैंने सुन लिया, प्रतीक का नाम वो लोग ने यहाँ पे डाल दिया. गेट द पर्टिकुलर था तो ये पर्टिकुलर कर दिया. Okay, if you even read their captions, they are brilliant because don't find yourself in a cold mess, it's not your kasoor. So Cold Mess is a song by Pratik Kuhad. Okay, Kasoor is also a new song by Pratik Kuhad. Do you have hundreds words for us? Because we only have three. Just dunzo it. Okay. Yeah. So branding and everything is also covered in this. So this is how how branding is covered is mainly when these people work on this content. This is their way of talking. Okay, they act, their social media account is like a actual person. It's not like a person who is it's not like an account which is robotic. Okay, you won't feel कि a brand is talking to you. You'll feel like अरे यार मजा आ गया, brand अब भूल जाओगे यहाँ पे. And that's the kind of impact which they have. This is again interesting. So I think 4 days back or something, Tuesday ko, there was this whole issue wherein Gmail was not sending mails. Okay, so they took that small moment and they immediately made this post. Everybody stay composed. Sometimes attachments take time. Think out of the outbox. Okay, think of the outbox. Think out of the near. Think of the outbox. So this problem which was there, and I didn't even realize ki, like when I faced the problem, I was like Gmail down ho gaya. But then later when I saw this on LinkedIn, and I was like, wow, these guys are brilliant at this. So sometimes things don't make sense. So everything if you see sense जो है वो sent कर दिया है. Stay unattached, and again attachment का imagery with the mailbox, it's brilliant. Address the subject with patience, again mail का language, and you will receive all the answers. So their copywriting team is, basically I think one of the best ones in the country today, and they are putting in this effort in all their posts. There is Kaju Teri Nazar, Tu हाँ कर for Kirana. Now you can enjoy home delivery at its best. Give up all your dar and order your groceries from Dunzo. Uh, can someone explain this? Like, do you guys understand what's happening out here? If someone wants to take a go at it, they can raise their hands and I will basically allow them to talk. Okay, I will explain this. So basically, this is Jadoo Teri Nazar from Dar picture का गाना है. Okay, and यहाँ पे Kaju Teri Nazar they have done. Now the film starred Shah Rukh Khan and Juhi Chawla. So if you see the caption out here, now you can. So Khan जो डाला है, that is Shah Rukh Khan. Enjoy को enjoy कर दिया. And sometimes it's like if you read this guy's comment, it's like ज़्यादा हो गया copywriting. Sometimes it feels like अरे यार ये बहुत ज़्यादा है, but it's fun. If you understand it, it's fun. So this is micro messaging. जब भी कोई लड़की देखूं, दिल बोले छोले छोले. So जब भी कोई लड़की देखूं, मेरा दिल दीवाना बोले ole ole. So this became dil bole chole chole. Again, food ka imagery is important, and here's the safest way because it had Saif Ali Khan. So safest way, promise ko God promise, basically Loki, and brilliant. Like I don't know how many of you guys know about Dunzo and knew this what I'm talking about right now. This message, yes, just message, um, yes, if you knew about this, and no, if you didn't. And what do you guys feel? So this is what this is something which is needed, okay, in terms of telling your story differently. Okay, this is something which is needed, which is for telling your or making your brand presence. They have been doing this actually for years now, but now you guys know कि okay क्या effort वो लोग डाल रहे हैं, and that's where I'm trying to just get your mind toward this part कि small content है doesn't mean कि it does not have a lot of you can say क्या बोलते हैं lot of ideas behind it. It can be something which can be created to get attention. Okay, now this is Zomato everyone knows, I guess. So Zomato has a very different ball game when it comes to this. In Zomato, what they do is they just say things as straightforward as possible. Okay, and that's their tone which they use. So I'll start with another one. This everyone would relate to, I guess. So Barish is like a real life notification to have pakoras. So what Zomato does is Zomato ka structure or Zomato ka way of talking about this is they would do an observation which is so simple, which everyone is thinking about at that time. Okay, and then they will put it out in front of you. So Barish is like a real life notification to have pakoras is what it is, but they spelled it out first online. Okay. Then extra butter on everything is what makes Janmashtami a happy Janmashtami. Again, here the idea is Janmashtami is Krishna, Krishna is a Makhan Chor, so butter. You know, so it's again a observation which is so obvious, but they did it first. Okay. Now there was this need a reason to take a break from Bartan duty. So it's like Zomato assumes कि भाई आपका life चल रहा है, but Zomato is also playing some role in your life. So they will just be like need a reason to take a break from Bartan duty. So during the lockdown, a lot of people were doing Bartan duties at home and all. So वो इस तरीके से बात कर रहा है कि भाई तू बर्तन ड्यूटी से छुटकारा लेना चाहता है तो एक काम कर नेक्स्ट मैसेज देख ऐसा. Now the next message basically was कि there was a 50% discount. Okay, then this is another observation. Life is poha, 2020 is nimbu seeds. So Dunzo does something very differently. Dunzo brings a lot of you can say nuance in the content, and Zomato does it differently. They talk about things which are so obvious, but we don't spell out. Okay, Dunzo ऐसा कुछ करता है जो हम लोग सोचेंगे नहीं. Zomato ऐसा कुछ करता है जो हम लोग सोच रहे हैं, but अपन बोल नहीं रहे हैं. So Zomato becomes that voice which talks about that. Okay, and which is crazy because this is where the brand through micro messaging is becoming a part of our lives. Okay, so then eating with hands because feels, now eating with hands because I will only have to wash the spoons. And this is reality. I don't know about you guys, but this is how दिमाग में यही सब चालू रहता है और Zomato वो चीजें बोलता है. So micro messaging, you can actually, if you know your customers, Okay, you can go very simple. You can be a part of their life, and you can communicate with them multiple times in a day if you get this right. So bite size storytelling पहले कैसे होता था मूवीज के थ्रू या टीवी शोज के थ्रू. It used to happen. One movie to create would take maybe at least a year to 2 years. Okay. Now, so 2 साल में एक मूवी आता है, let's say of शाहरुख खान, or if you are like someone like Akshay Kumar, he would have 4 to 5 releases in a year, and that's why he is in a different league. But शाहरुख खान बोलो 4 साल में एक मूवी, आमिर खान बोलो 2 साल 3 साल में एक मूवी, सलमान खान हर साल में एक मूवी, ऐसे. Now the point is, if they are taking that much time to done, shooting might be done in 45 days. Shooting the schedule is 45 to 60 days only. But the problem is shooting तक पहुंचने के लिए काम लग रहा है प्री प्रोडक्शन का, डेट्स होने चाहिए, प्लस उसके बाद जो है वीएफएक्स का काम है उसमें टाइम चाहिए, editing, sound, music, putting all the things together, that takes time. Then release date. Okay, because if you are a Amir Khan, you would want to release your film only in December. So ideally एक एक फिल्म अगर रिलीज करना है उनको, नहीं एक साल में वो एक ही फिल्म रिलीज कर सकते हैं, even if you go by that. Or else if you are someone like Salman Khan, you would want a eat date. Now this is where movies में क्या हो रहा था, you got to be a part of someone's space or someone's life maybe once in 1 year or 2 years. But with Instagram and all these things, you get to be a part of people's lives every few hours. And that's why bite-sized storytelling is so important. Okay. Now I will move on to the secrets part. Okay. Secrets may I would just want to go through LinkedIn of 2 3 accounts, just show you what is happening in the world of LinkedIn, and then you guys can check it out. So let's see. Okay. So there's this crazy guy, Vaibhav Sisinti. Okay, he runs a LinkedIn masterclass. Okay, LinkedIn workshop actually, and that is a brilliant workshop to attend. But I would show you just one part of what is happening, how LinkedIn is working today. What we need to understand is Instagram is all about images. LinkedIn is more about people, profession, and text. People want to read in Instagram your thoughts, your professional thoughts. Okay, so and you can have some fun also. It's not key you won't have that. So if I come down, one second, I'll just change this to post. Yeah. So what Vaibhav is saying out here, let's just see if you've done. If you see, all of these posts are text-based posts. बीच में एक YouTube video है. Okay, that's basically he had done a podcast with Tanmay Bhatt. So he's put that. He went live over here. Now let's look at one of this storytelling perspective. Say, Vaibhav, how can I get to X followers fast? This is a question that I get on an almost everyday basis. Just that X changes. Like, how can I get 20,000 followers fast? Basically, some want 10K, while few want 100K. So I thought I would make one thing super clear. Doesn't matter. About 2 years back, I only had 5,000 followers. Made a post asking if anybody would be interested in buying an Instagram program. 300 people commented, 90 people bought it. 60 people eventually bought the program. All this with about 5K followers. Can you do the same too if you have 5K followers? No. Reason, you haven't added value yet. Before I made that post about Instagram, I have been adding my value, my content for almost 6 to 7 months. That's what I would recommend you to do. Stop looking at followers, start adding value, expect a return. Remember, followers is a byproduct, not the result. Thoughts. So what he did just now is he wrote a story here. Okay, he asked a question. He wrote about a question which he gets asked, and then he wrote that entire incident out here. And if you see, there is not any hashtag or anything out here. Okay, because he has a good number of followers. Right now, he's got these many followers, and people are seeing, and LinkedIn is working organically well. Okay, so this is how storytelling is happening. Now, he just told about one simple thing about a question he gets asked, and he explained it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter क्यों बोला, because you know what, this is what happened in my life at that point. And then when this happened, so I understood this is what happened based on that. So don't expect a return just as it is by asking people कि अरे मेरा post कर लो. You have to put in that value, or you have to put in that time. Now that is the way storytelling actually happens on LinkedIn today. Look at this. For all those people who keep saying that they don't have the time for that side project or this startup idea, what are you watching on Netflix today? Okay. Now, when we go to the comments, okay, there is some engagement which has happened. There's this guy watching Gunjan Saxena. Okay. And then they have written all these things. The point is, people are actually having now discussions over there. Okay. Now, what the whole idea over here was, he has started a conversation. Now, how has he started a conversation? Just by asking a simple question. Will you be able to do that? Will I be able to do that? Not really. But I'll show you what happened in my LinkedIn recently. I was just experimenting with something. So I put this. I had created this in one of my last webinars or something. I put this up, and I got 516 views. Then I wrote something which is in the similar format as what Vaibhav Sisinti and all these guys are writing. I went for a meeting, okay, which is like after the lockdown, that was my first in-person meeting. So I just wrote that, okay, I have some wordplay in it, and then this particular thing got me 787 views. Basically, people like more things, and then I also did one of these things. I wanted to test what my audience is, who my audience is. Okay, so I wrote a post on edtech. Okay, this is an insightful post. What it basically says is, this was my observation, कि Byju's acquires Whitehead Junior for 300 million. Whitehead Junior, okay, and Reliance acquires, the Reliance is in talk to acquire Urban Ladder for 30 million. Both are different markets, but Urban Ladder is 8 years into the grind. Whitehead Junior is only 1.5 years. Look at the difference: 30 million, 300 million. Okay, and this is a physical product, and this is a digital product. So my point with this post was, I was trying to check who is liking this. Now there were few people who liked this. Okay, and these are all people who I know and I am connected to in each and every day. So it doesn't matter, because those are वो अपने ही लोग हैं, वो लोग like कर रहे हैं, उसमें कुछ हो नहीं रहा है. Now this particular post was interesting because this had people who I have lost connection with also. They are liking that. What it basically tells is, this particular post which I wrote, this is a post for entrepreneurs, people who are interested in startups. They would have liked it. This says my audience today, people who are following me. I have 1321 followers. These 1321 followers are not optimized for this kind of content. What they want to know is, they want to know about me. What am I up to? They don't want me to tell them कि edtech में ये चला कि वो लोग entrepreneurship में नहीं है. Okay. So that means if I create more personal content, वो ज़्यादा सही होगा. Something which I created, this got 9 likes right now. So this is how you measure when you take certain steps what your particular thing is. Now what I will be doing is I will be going into my followers, okay, or I will be going into my connections, and I will be removing few connections which are there, because those connections are not optimized for my story which I want to tell, or those are connections जो by default बने हुए रहेंगे, and I don't want to be a part. I don't have maybe a connection like right now also. If you see, मुझे कुछ connection request आया है अभी, अर्पित का आया है. अर्पित is actually here, so let's say ये एक accept करते हैं, but बाकी लोग अगर मैं देख रहा हूँ, मुझे कुछ ना कुछ आते जा रहा है. मैं जानबूझ के ये अभी एक्सेप्ट करना मैंने छोड़ दिया, बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट द रॉन्ग followers to be a part of my audience. Now this understanding is so important, because then what content you will push out there will be appreciated by those people who you like, or it might not be. It's like, think of it, if this is a reality show, okay, how many people in the audience want to see a reality show? Maybe someone wants to see Big Boss, but someone else might be there who wants to see Sacred Games, let's say. और अगर मैं और अगर मैं जो रियलिटी शो देखना चाहते हैं उनके लिए सीक्रेट गेम्स दिखाऊं, वो लोग नहीं देखेंगे. So you need to know your audience and you need to tell the story accordingly. So this is what the difference is between a pro like Vaibhav Sisinti. He knows who his audience is, and if you see some of his posts also, like this post is getting 1861 likes or engagement. Few other posts are not, and it will always be like that. But all these posts, he's whatever he is putting in there, the ones which are working tells you कि ये story लोगों को पसंद आ रही है, and you can accordingly start creating similar stories. Look at what Tanmay Bhatt is doing on Instagram today. Sorry, on this thing today, LinkedIn. So Tanmay Bhatt ने YouTube में 2.1 million followers cross कर लिए. Now he started pushing his content on Instagram भी वो कर रहा है, but he started pushing his content on अपना LinkedIn. Why LinkedIn? Because he understood that LinkedIn is also a space where he can actually start pushing out content and grow, because he's an entrepreneur, he's into startups, he's into stocks and so many things. Now, this is where he started giving YouTube insights, because he knows about YouTube. ये YouTube का बात कर रहा है. Look at this. YouTube channel के बारे में बात किया. He's got 3,000 likes. He's actually teaching here how YouTube channel में more DAOs, daily active users, means more revenue. Okay. Now this is something which is brilliant, because एक दूसरे सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म का अंडरस्टैंडिंग अगर वो यहाँ पे एडुकेट करेगा लोगों को, people will like that. If you see, then he's right now talking a lot about brain science and everything. So he's talking about that has got like 5,000 you can say likes or something. Why do people share content? So this is where you need to understand these guys are writing their own stories. If you see over here, 20s versus 30s. 20s, I think I'm the best. 30s, Jesus, I know so little. 20s, if the emotion is in my heart, I must express it. 30s, emotions are good to feel, mindfully, carefully express, and to be slept on to fully process. 20s, I'm jealous of the fact that you are more successful than me. 30s, could you please tell me what I can learn? And this is crazy, because we all have gone through this. Whoever is in the 30s might relate to this. 20s में ऐसा रहता है कि एटीट्यूड की मैं कर लूंगा, जो भी है मैं कर लूंगा. 30s में थोड़ी समझ आती है, and then we are more humble, and we are like कि अरे यार मुझे बता, I am ready to learn. 20s में I will do it. 30s में can you tell me how to do it, and I will do it the next time. You know, so this is something so simple if you can decode, and that is what Zomato is doing, right? Zomato is doing what we all know and is telling that. Tanmay Bhatt ne bhi wahan pe kya kiya, he is telling us something which we all have experienced or will experience. Okay. Again, audiences today understand influencer marketing. Hence, I've noticed the best brand placements are those where I watch the piece of content. मुझे पता है ये branded है, चलो फिर भी मजा आया, no problem. Now, this, it's interesting. He will put this. He did a video on YouTube wherein he has, pushed in a brand which is Mivi, and the way he has pushed it is brilliant. So I think I must have also, yeah. So if you see, I have also commented out here. When you have Shankar dancing without an air of what's happening around, it's truly the moment when I know branded रहेगा but मजा आ रहा है. Like if you see that particular video, okay, like this guy also, your recent video with Mivi integration was really smart and subtle. So he has put up a video. I'll just show that. 1 second. And why? So when I am saying secret of the pros, the idea is you need to really see not just in your industry but other industries also what's happening. So, and what Tanmay Bhatt's content is doing, it is breaking the boundaries of all industries because he's not into this. ये कोई भी content देख सकता है इसका. Now, this particular video, the way the storytelling happens in this, he starts off with this discussion with his flatmates that, I make a lot of sound when I am streaming, and they show him some references and everything. Towards the end, or okay, then he gets, you can say, the video from he gets these earpods for his entire team from Mivi, and he's giving them all these earpods which are like noise cancellation and all those things. He gives it also to his house help Shankar, and this guy is brilliant if you see his vlog. He gives it to his house help also. He gives it to his person who delivers anda and all those things, also to his watchman. Sabko deta hai. Now, what that happens when that happens is his humane side is exposed. Okay, and towards the end when he is just talking, you have this one scene wherein you have his house help dancing in the background, okay, which is crazy. So this is inadvertently the best piece of branded content which I have seen in this past, you can say, few years or something. But this is where I'm saying ki when we are looking at these parts, right, we need to understand ki all of these things need to be shown to people in this right way. This is where we need to understand ki how storytelling works. Now he made that video there on YouTube, and on LinkedIn he's connecting it only for people who know it will actually do what we did. Like audiences today understand influencer marketing in exactly a week back, and that video is also a week back, and there are comments wherein people have picked that up. Maybe integration. Okay, so see this, the way you plug the earphone deal was pure genius. Maybe. So content is now flowing, or a brand is now flowing from one social media platform to the other, and which is basically the craziest way to do this. Now what will happen for Mivi? Just think about this. Mivi ने उसको बोला है कि भाई मेरा ईयरपॉड मुझे बेच के दे, बट लिंक्डइन पे भी वो कन्वर्सेशन आ गया, तो Mivi might notice कि अरे यार ये बंदे के साथ काम किया, and his influence is not just on Instagram and YouTube, but also on LinkedIn. So next time when they work with him, they might do a LinkedIn campaign. I don't know. So this is how we need to understand. And what have they done? The secrets of the pros, if you see, I am not put in anything, because this is what the secret of the pros are. They talk about themselves and their experience. They talk about what they are working on. You saw that in Vaibhav Sisinti. Okay, he spoke about his work. He would speak about what he's learning, and he would speak about his struggle. Same with Apna hero Tanmay Bhatt. He spoke about himself. He spoke about he worked on influencer marketing, but वो ऐसे उसने बताया. Then what are you learning? He's learning about brain science. He put that thing out there. Struggle is real. He talks about depression. Okay. Now this all is basically the secret of the pros itself. And this is how this with this I would like to end this and maybe open it up for discussion. Wherein if there are any doubts or anything, I would be glad to help you guys out. If you guys have any particular you can say doubt when it comes to creating bite-sized storytelling for yourself or how to make it work, then we can talk about that as well. Okay. uh, in the Q&A, I see Shankar has asked about hashtags and the proper placement. So Shankar, about hashtags, it's simple. If you are talking about Instagram, on an Instagram story, you can put 10 hashtags. On an Instagram post, you can put 30 hashtags. But all these posts, all these hashtags need to be well researched. Okay, how can you research a hashtag? I would just say कि in the start, if you have less than 1,000 followers on Instagram, then you search for hashtags which are, you can say, popular but not that big. Like, don't go in for hashtags which are like 1.2 million, you can say, followers or something like that. Use hashtags which are maybe in the 10,000 bracket or 20,000 bracket. Okay. Use even smaller hashtags, maybe thousands में जो रहेंगे 5,000 का followers या कुछ रहेगा. You can use those also, and you can take that also forward. So I will just, and for hashtags, again, what you could also do is, if you see the way in which the hashtags have been, shown in the bottom, you could just write your caption, put these dots, and put your hashtags down there. Because when hashtags come in front, of your caption, then it sort of looks like the person is just trying too hard. So that's why push the hashtags as much as possible down. Okay, that would really help you. So Arpit is basically asking, can you explain how to create boards and jot down your ideas to Trello? Maybe not now, in some other session. I can do a very quick thing. Okay. So Arpit, what I on Trello, it's as simple as this. Basically, all of these things which you are seeing, right? The secrets and all these things, the entire thing is called a board. This particular thing is called it's called a list, and inside of list there are different cards. So what you could do is, if you are thinking about your brand or something, you could just put in few cards which are around that. So let's say launch ideas. Okay, so these are ideas, and launch के बारे में मुझे कुछ चाहिए. So launch announcement. Let's say I'm just randomly writing stuff. Don't take it to I don't mean anything out here. So launch announcement. Let's say brand um, partners. Okay, so I'm writing down all the things which I have to work on. So brand partners announcement करना है, launch announcement करना है. I need to schedule the webinar. Let's say I need to post on Instagram. Okay, and I need to post on, and I need maybe 5 posts on Instagram. So what I would do is, I would just write those 5 posts ka alag alag cards. So this will be let's say what is brand X, okay, then mission, then vision. So I'm just clicking and just adding these cards. Now what I could do is, as I take this forward, I want to now think of this actual post in the right way. So let's say it's a mission, and mission may I want to write my actual mission, because that will be my caption. So we are a group of coders, uh, gamers, and creators who help businesses digitally. Okay, so this is my let's say mission, and what I would want is, what kind of post, or you can say, is it an image post or something? So I would just pick up maybe, let's say, this particular image, and this particular image is something which I want to post over there. Okay, so that's how you add a post. If you want, you can also press. You could also come here and add a due date to the card. So if you're planning something with the timeline, you can put the timeline. You can say at 6. And I could also, if there are members, like if you see out here on Trello, I have invited people. So I can invite more people over here. So I've invited Parag right now. What I could do is, whoever is on the board with me, I can make him responsible for this by adding his name. I could also go here and I could go to the activity, write a comment at Parag, need this to be scheduled for tomorrow. Okay, so again, at the rate डाल के उसका नाम डाल दिया, and so a notification has been sent to him. So that's how simple you can say Trello is. If you guys want, what I will do is, one of the sessions I will do exclusively on Trello. Okay, so that can help you guys to understand how to go about this whole thing. Okay, so done. I think I am done for the day. If you guys have anything more to add, let me know. Otherwise, let's catch up later. Okay, next Saturday, that is 5th September. On this time, I will be doing a session that is content writing for SEO. And if you check, Ritika has actually put in the details out there on chat. So now, content writing for SEO, this is the most, I think this is one of the most, like, I'm actually proud of this particular piece of, session which I will be taking, because SEO is a very big term, and people have misused it, or people think they are doing SEO. But over these past 3 years, I have seen in my you can say around me, SEO writing is a pain point, and not many people understand it. Not many writers understand it. So basically, I will be sharing few of the strategies which can be done to write for SEO the right way, and how do you actually go about this? Okay, what are the various steps? Because it's not as simple as कि एक बार blog लिख लिया हो गया. To prepare it for SEO requires a few more steps. So that's what I will be talking about, and I will be doing some practical stuff also. So I'll be showing you how do you write content for SEO, so that your websites, if you guys are have your own websites, or else if you guys are planning to create a website, or maybe it's of your friend or your company or something, you can actually add value to them. Second part is, SEO writing is also useful for social media. Okay, what I showed you on LinkedIn, what these guys are doing, they are trying to rank through text. Okay, and ranking through text is social SEO basically. So this is where, what kind of topics do you write about, what kind of keywords do you have. The same rules apply there also. So you need to understand how do these platforms rank content, and based on that, you need to start looking at this in a more holistic way, and you can actually apply content writing for SEO onto social media, and that will give you results. Okay. So, guys, thanks a lot for joining us on Saturday. And I hope you guys have a great weekend ahead. Cheers.